I'll let a few people get in the room so that they can hear it live from the start for showing up. We're looking at some real dangerous times here. War is not slowing down, it's taking off. Every night Russia is hitting apartment buildings with missiles, and then every day the retaliation from Ukraine hits their infrastructure on fuel, where they're making their money. So appreciate y'all showing up and coming in. This is information that is absolutely relevant for every person on the planet. If you live on this planet and you don't want to die of cancer early from nuclear fallout, then it's important that you have this information, at least to know what's going on. So we all know that they hit the Chernobyl plant with a drone. They did that on purpose, and they said it was an accident. Whatever. So they hit Chernobyl, and it put a hole in the dome of it that was covering it up, and it did release radiation. They can't go in there and do anything about it till the war's over. They said they can't even touch it. So Chernobyl's leaking. Also, they recently cut power to it, which stops them from being able to cool the spent nuclear rods, and then runs the risk of them having a hydrogen explosion just like Fukashima. It's exactly like Fukashima. It's always the hydrogen, and it's just like it. Once you understand that, they also cut the power to the Zaporizhia plant. When I say they cut it, they said missiles hit the transmission lines bringing power to the plant to supply the plant with power. However, at the exact same time, they said that there were people, I guess before that, who manually cut the power and disconnected. They said manually disconnected so that it wouldn't be damage to the plant. Why? Because Russia is stealing a nuclear power plant. They need it intact, and here's what they've done. In Zaporizhia, they went in, same thing as what they did in Chernobyl when they went in with tanks through the Red Forest and kicked up all that nuclear material that was in the dirt and stole the scientists that were from Ukraine that were running the Chernobyl plant, because it's in Ukraine. They also stole the people and took the people that were the Ukrainian National Guard that were up there. Well, in that same way, Russia took over a while back. They took over the nuclear power plant in Zaporizhia, and they've been controlling it with their scientists, with a Russian-owned company who listens to them. So at the same time, you're like, well, it's shut down. They're not doing anything with it. Well, they could be doing things with it. They could be doing experiments with it. That's how they make their poison that they take people out with, that polonium-210, like they took out the guy in England whose name was Alexander, and his wife, you know, he went into the hospital, told him that he was a spy, that he used to work for Russia, and that they poisoned him. And they found out that, yeah, it's polonium. And so polonium-210, it's created. It has a fingerprint from where it was created at, and they know that what was used on him and also what was used on someone else, okay, originated in Russia. So now they have a plant that is not in Russia. It gives a fingerprint of its area, but it's a molecular fingerprint of the exact stuff that comes out of a specific plant, depending on exactly how refined the plutonium is that is in the reaction that makes it. It's like taking salt and pepper. You know how you mix them together? It's like if pepper has an effect, right, on something, and you put a jar of salt opened next to it, it would possibly take on the taste of the pepper. You understand? So they put something in a nuclear reactor that is next to, in proximity of the reaction for, I think it's like 30 days, 28 days, right? And it takes on attributes and becomes something different. So the radiation changes it and creates polonium-210, which is the poison they use to take people out. And now it will have a chemical isotope, a property that will be able to be not traced back to Russia, but traced back to Ukraine, and they can make things look like they happen from Ukraine in a deep spy kind of level. So once you understand all that, they could be using that plant to make polonium-210. Let's see, long time, man. Oh, right on. What's up, then? Silos. Yeah, it's been a long time. I've been busy. I had a trailer catch on fire. I've had a whole lot of stuff happen, and I've been busy working. And so, but I wanted to put this out. So basically, right now, though, what Russia did was they did use missiles to hit the transmission lines going to the plant, okay? And then somehow magical, right? Even though there's a war going on all around the plant, somehow magical, they're just standing by and ready with 150 kilometers of heavy cable ready to fix the problem. How are they going to fix the problem? They're like, well, we'll hook it up to our power system. They're stealing a nuclear power plant, is what they're doing. They're not just going to hook up the transmission lines feeding the plant, okay? They're going to stop it at one of the transmission plants. So one of the, I'm sorry, the one of the it's a transformer. They'll take one of the transformers over, okay, and they will then reroute it from there to their country and start the reactor again. But here's what's happened in the meantime. When they cut the power to the plant, same as when power was flooded away and cut away from the Fukashima Daiichi plant in Japan. And they're going to have, by the way, they're going to have to evacuate up to 10 kilometers minimum. That's what they did at Fukushima. It's cookie cutter what happened in Fukushima. They're going to have to evacuate 10 kilometers out when this happens, but it's going to happen because Ukraine's not going to let them take the reactor, and Russia wants to take it but does not want to turn the power back over to Ukraine. So what's going to happen is it's going to go up. Right now it's running on emergency, okay, not made to last a long time, but emergency generators. They said they had a few on standby, which means they're not running all of them, okay? They just refueled it today. This is new intel. Today they finally got diesel fuel in there, which means if you go back in time and say that from the 23rd to the 6th, right? So about every 15 days, we're at 14, 13. About every 13 days, they run out of diesel fuel. That is their amount of diesel fuel that they have. So every 13 days, Russia's going to have to either go in there under fire and bring diesel fuel, or they're going to have a ceasefire every 13 days to fuel that thing. So it has a 13-day capacity. Every 13 days, we run the risk of being 1 day away, because the backup batteries work for 1 day after that, 1 day away from an Armageddon kind of a situation that it's going to blow all over Europe. It's going to blow, depends on which way the wind's blowing. It could blow to Europe or it could blow to Russia. So, but it's going to come all the way around and keep blowing. It's going to come all the way around to the west coast from Alaska. It's going to come all the way to the east coast, and we will be radiated. Everybody paying attention? So, it's called a hydrogen explosion. When they're not kept cool, there's a buildup of hydrogen, so much so that it fills up the whole building. The whole place blows. It's like a dirty nuke. And all the radiation goes with the wind. A lot. So, it'll be worse than Chernobyl because there are 6 reactors. Who knows how many holding tanks. Every one of them that overheats will go up. It will be the equivalent, with no one giving cooling water to it like they tried in Japan and everything else. It'll be the equivalent of 10 times worse than Fukushima. You're wondering how you're getting, nuclear laden shrimp at Walmart now. Look that up. That happened. Well, I said that was going to happen with the fish and everything. That's why Russia and China wouldn't buy the fish near or around Japan, because they said it was going to be laden with that, and there you go. Well, it's true now. So it'll be in the air, it'll be everywhere. It will impregnate itself into steel. If you're working in a steel building, you'll get radiated every day. Okay, so we've established it's really number one bad. So what can we do about it? I don't know. We can pray. We can hope that this war ends, or that Russia stops its aggression at least long enough for them to restore power to a nuclear power plant that's now running on battery backups. And as soon as those, I'm sorry, not battery backups, generators. As soon as those generators go out, the batteries last one day. So it's exactly the same as Fukashima. It's the same type of plant. Every one of them are cookie cutter. You got the same problem going on in Chernobyl too, because they were cooling those rods there too, and they cut the power to that one too. How about that one? Only there's nobody sitting there ready to repower it. Man, I don't know. But these are diesel generators. One of them already failed, and it had to be repaired by the Russian company. So that was like just, halfway through the situation. From the 23rd to now, though, that's every single 13 days or so, they're going to have to bring in diesel fuel, diesel, right? And they're not even running all of them. So what happens when they can't get parts for one that breaks, and the other one, throws a rod, or another one, the head malfunctions and they shut it off, or another one, the fuel filter gets, water in it somehow, and water comes out of the air. We drain water from our tanks whenever we need to. I'm running a diesel. There's one under that hood right now. I know what I'm talking about. I've shown you how to change turbos on diesels. I've shown you how they work. People, this is no joke. I wouldn't care if they had 50 of them. It's just a matter of time before they fail. And they're generating electricity. What happens when the electrical generators that they're spinning, just like a home generator, you got maybe a year on that, right? Well, those are gas powered. They get hot. So what happens whenever you have one that has a oil cooler start going bad, and then water gets in oil, and it's like a head gasket leak, and then the whole engine blows up, right? What are they controlled by? Are they computer controlled? Probably. What happens when the ECM goes bad? Are they cat motors? Probably not. They're probably no better than the ones they put in boats, which are not the greatest diesel engines. There's a couple of good Yanmars out there, but they have to be completely, man, if y'all knew. So there's 13 diesel powered generators right now keeping us from nuclear Armageddon. And of course they're not talking about it, but I'm telling you about it, and it's true, and you can look it up, and they just refueled one today. I mean, they just refueled the whole plant today. So we got about every 13 days, and you can bet they were about out. I'll guarantee it. So Russia wants them to let them power the plant with their power and send power to themselves over the transmission lines, and then they just stole a nuclear reactor. Or supply Ukraine with power and then cut it off this winter and freeze everybody to death that's actually dependent on that power. Every night they're hitting their apartments with missiles. Every night. That's all they do is they're trying to create a dead zone. They're trying to create a buffer zone between Russia and Ukraine by obliterating all of the habitation, all the people, all of everything. They don't want them there. They don't want them alive. They don't want them dead. They don't want them there. And it's ethnic cleansing, same as what they did to the farmers back in the Bolshevik Revolution. So they basically were jealous because the farmers back then were doing good, and they had farm crops, and they were not starving during a period of economic decline and starvation. And what happened? The government went in there, stole their grain, so they couldn't even plant grain the next year, which was stupid. That's their breadbasket. That's like if you went to Kansas and said, we're going to take all your grain, all your seed for next year, and take some of y'all out and punish y'all for doing good because you have food on your table and we don't. You understand? So that's exactly what happened during that Bolshevik Revolution. And they killed the entire Romanov family. Okay? Some people say Anastasia lived. Some people say she did not. The Queen of England that met her said basically, if you are not her, please don't ever tell me so. Because she knew things about, when she was little that knew. Because she's basically, that was her granddaughter. So, understand this, people. In the first place, the government that's currently running Russia anyhow is very, I'm not going to say they're illegitimate, but you get the picture, right? Because of them taking out the Bolshevik Revolution, taking out the royal family of Russia. So there's people who harken back to that time, and so they play a little game of cat and mouse. Well, it's sad that happened. We'll show them some respect on this day that happened. And there's still actually a descendant of them. It's a boy that lives in Russia. Technically, he's the heir. But they don't push that so much to change back or anything. But what happened in that time was they took out the farmers. Okay? They went in there and they absolutely took them out to punish them. And where were the farmers located? Ukraine. It's all ethnic cleansing on Russia's part anyway. That's all they want, is to take those people out. They don't want them there. And they want a route to the Black Sea so they can have a Black Sea fleet. They want the oil that was recently found off the edge of Ukraine down there, because it's more money than the United Arab Emirates would even have. There's more oil in there, okay, for Ukraine. Ukraine will be so rich if they stop this war right now and could drill offshore. Why? Because they've got more oil than all of the countries anywhere around the Gulf. Okay? Anywhere down there. All of them, including Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, every single one of them, Iran, Iraq. Ukraine's got more oil offshore, they just found it. So Russia wants that. That's what they make their money as right now, is selling oil. But they're having a difficult time because their refineries and their tanks keep getting hit, and their ships that have oil on them keep getting hit. And those were only temporary. Okay, but if they could win their route to the sea, and if they could win a certain amount of land, they want that oil down there. Like I said, if Ukraine was to win this and was able to start pumping oil from offshore, forget the Lamborghini. Okay, forget about Lamborghini. They would have a Ukrainian Guinea. Okay, they would have their own everything. They could have so much money they could just throw it, just like the Saudis do. Okay, Russia wants that. They also want more than just Crimea, and they want a buffer zone, and they want to keep that bridge, and they want a nuclear power plant now. They want it all. Will they get it? I don't know. Do they need to play Russian roulette with a nuclear power plant that could go up at any time and take us all out? No. That's not fair to everybody on the planet. But it is exactly cookie cutter like Fukashima. As soon as it loses power, we have exactly 3 days from the point, it's already lost power, but when the backup generators go out, it will be just like Fukushima. Fukushima, from day one, the water came in and it not just killed power, but it killed the backup generators. And then they had 1 day of battery backup. After that 1 day of battery backup, there was a hydrogen buildup and explosion, and it blew every single one of them one at a time. First one to go was reactor 4. It was actually shut down and it was under construction. Then the casks went and whatever. So hear what I'm saying, people. There's no stopping the hydrogen thing. It will happen if they don't have power to that plant, period. So you got 13 backup generators. Some of them are on standby just in case, so they're running minimum that they have to keep things cool. And also every about 13 days from the 23rd until just today, they refueled yesterday and they told about it today. So what does that mean? Every 13 days we're at risk of it being one day away when the battery backups die of nuclear annihilation on our planet coming around from, basically 2 different plants. I don't know what's going on in Chernobyl. Don't know if they refueled it or not. They may not care because they think it's so close to Ukraine, it'll just take them out and not Russia. And then it'll radiate Europe. And every night they're hitting apartment buildings in Russia. I'm sorry, in Ukraine. Russia's hitting Ukrainian apartment buildings. People. Trying to get them out of there. They want a buffer zone of gargantuan proportions. Anybody got any questions? Just thought I'd throw this up, though. You have a right to know if you're about to get nuked or not, right? It's only fair. Man, they got to stop this war, and they need to bring power back to that plant. And they may have to capitulate and let Russia hook it up to their own power lines, because otherwise, I mean, who can make that decision? Unless they can hook it back up to Ukraine somehow. Russia's got wires on standby. What can you do? Sometimes there's nothing you can do. Even if it's temporary. Cut them later. They may have to let them hook them up. Then Russia just stole a nuclear power plant. Everybody talks about... Never mind. But yeah, so people, I'm going to get off this thing. I had intel. I'm not going to ramble. I'm not grandstanding. I'm telling you news that you have a right to know. That's it. So, God bless you, people. Let's hope this does not get worse. And, man, I hope those are some real good generators. The best ever made. God bless them. Just saying. God bless y'all, people. I'm out. Peace. Oh, yeah. Share this video to, I don't know, like the world, everybody. All right. I'm out. Peace.